Mike, we're in front of ICE building in Portland, Oregon, correct?
Yes.
This is the building. So when was the first time you came here?
2 weeks ago.
And on your first, and why did you decide to come here 2
I
weeks
wanted to
ago?
see everything with my own eyes. There wasn't any, 2016 when Antifa was acting up, there was press about it. 2020 timeframes, there was press about it, but this time there was no press about what's happening with Antifa. Only live streamers and mainstream media was trying to debunk the live streamers and content creators. So I wanted to see it with my own eyes. So I came out here 2 weeks ago to meet the gentleman that went viral for defending himself, to meet the independent journalists that have been attacked, to actually meet them in person and judge for myself what is happening here and witness it. And
So 2 weeks ago, on your first visit, what did you see?
bit more chaos, a bit more confrontations between both sides of the political aisle.
So to interrupt you, how many people? So tonight is very quiet.
Dead. This is dead. Last time I was, the first time I came, you could easily have a couple hundred people out here.
So okay, a few hundred people. And what time
I
did
would
you?
say no more than two.
Right. So a few hundred to 200 people. What time did you get in?
I drove from Boise the first time. I got here at 9 o'clock at night. The first day I was here, within 13 minutes, some of the local protesters, don't know if he considers himself Antifa or just a protester, but he pulled a fake airsoft gun on us, put us in fear for our lives, and he ended up getting a citation. And then later that night, he was arrested for shining a laser at aircraft. So that was my introduction 13 minutes into coming to Portland. And it's died down a lot since then. There was some chaos both times, a couple incidences. But now the sidewalks are clear. People can use them. The citizens of the building have expressed their joy to be able to come outside and not feel threatened anymore and to use the sidewalks. The main difference, I would say, from that trip to this trip is Portland police is enforcing the law. They stopped, it felt like the first time they were looking the other way and their hands were tied from policy or leaders above them, so they can only do so much. And this time around, I just got a warning for jaywalking. When I first came through here, you could walk anywhere you wanted to down the streets and they would say nothing to you. So the fact they're coming up to people and giving warnings and citing for disorderly conduct, that's a step in the right direction. If they want the National Guard out of here, this is the tone and the peace they're gonna have to maintain to keep the National Guard out.
Right. So in these 2 weeks that you spent here,
I went back home. So I was here for 3 or 4 days.
Right.
Went home and then came back out Thursday for Patriot Weekend.
and have you seen protests and what's going on in front of ICE facilities in other cities?
Nope, this is the only city I've seen it in.
So in all your trips, essentially describe a typical scene when you what you witnessed and what you filmed.
Well, what do you mean by a scene? It usually stays pretty calm. This will stay calm, but out of nowhere, chaos can erupt. Out of nowhere, someone can be walking down the street and have a crowd of people surround them and start yelling at them and screaming names at them and being vile and nasty and threatening them. And that's changed. This time it's changed since Portland police started cracking down. When I first got here on Thursday, it was chaotic going up and down here. You couldn't walk the sidewalks. And in the night, Portland police decided to crack down. There's been a change in attitude. And a change in behavior, too. That's for the most part, no one's getting in people's faces and saying vile things to each other.
And have you witnessed any altercations between ICE officers and protesters in your visits?
The first time I came out here, there were a couple people arrested. I got to see get arrested. This time around, I haven't seen any arrests. The protesters have died down. There's very few out here. In fact, they just had 5 or 6 cars drive right in, and they didn't have to have any ICE agents come out and clear the driveway. So something's changed. They could be licking their wounds. Some people think Antifa's going up to Seattle for the weekend. Some people think it's a smoke show. But as long as Portland police continues to have a presence out here, and you look across the street, there's 6 or 7 of them.
Yep.
As long as they continue to have a presence out here and continue to enforce the law, this should be what happens out here.
There's an opinion that was voiced before I started talking to you that the reason it's so quiet tonight is because it seems that Trump changed his mind on sending troops. At least so far, there've been no directions.
Well, Trump's had his hand tied. He's already said he wanted to send them, but the court said he can't.
But I heard that court order was lifted. At least that's what I
No,
heard.
at the 5 o'clock, it was lifted, but part of it was lifted. They waited till tonight and they had a review, and the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, they had like 11 of 19 judges, or I don't know the numbers,
Right.
but they voted to have an en banc review of whether or not this needs to happen. So the National Guard is still blocked from coming here for now, but the Insurrection Act can still be used by them and send in Marines. So as long as this maintains what's happening here, there's no need to send in any national troops, any federal troops.
Right. What would be the need of sending troops? Let's say there's a protest in front of ICE building, and there's some agitators. People don't necessarily can control their emotions. Would you say that would be legit reason to send the guards and the troops?
Depends on the size of the crowd. Some of these crowds can get really big, and they have been very violent with the ICE agents. So it really depends on their level of escalation. If it's just them blocking the road and having to be cleared, I don't think you need troops for that. But if they're going to be, violently out here throwing objects at ICE, shooting fireworks at them, shining lasers at them, then
Like putting ICE in danger, ICE officers in
exactly
danger.
anything where it's like a legitimate danger, that shouldn't be. The police already have, the federal agents already have enough to handle. It's already a toll on their mental health to come out and do this and get, it takes a toll on them. Some of them work overtime. They had to bring in DHS police, there's Border Patrol here, there's Department of Prisons here now. So you have to keep fresh people in here, and if you can just shut it all down with the National Guard, but if the National Guard comes, I think this place is going to explode. I think Antifa will show back up in greater numbers, be louder, more rioty. But that's just my opinion on it. But right now, they don't need to come. If this maintains, there's no need for them.